Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Cammy and Karen Go Keto. If you're following us, we are transitioning to a ketogenic lifestyle, and today we're going to talk about struggle. Cammy, what do you want to start us off with?
Well, I just want to say thanks for being here for me, Karen, and thank you, everybody out there. We've been hearing from a couple of people that people are actually watching and paying some attention, which has been really great. One of the reasons behind us starting this channel was to have some accountability for ourselves and realizing that other people out there need it too. So we're just glad you're here with us. So, we had the last video where we talked about commitment, and I've been thinking a lot about that. And it's hard for me to be committed to something where I have to have some kind of struggle, or I have to have, like I want to eat when I'm hungry and I want to eat what I want to eat. And, it's the feeling of deprivation and going without, and those kinds of feelings come up for me. And, when I was in my binge eating program inpatient, they told me that that's why restrictive kind of diets where I'm watching my carbs would not work. But then I proceeded to eat how they suggested and gained 15 pounds while I was in there when I already had plenty of weight to lose going in. So I'm just really, struggling, as the word you said, with, being okay with a little bit of hunger and just knowing that what I'm up to is bigger and that I need to just be able to overcome some of the suffering. I'm in my book here, The Power of Discipline by Daniel Walter. And it says here, under the Zen philosophy and self-discipline, first, you will accept that since there is no escape from suffering, you should prepare for it by working toward your goals. Second, you should have the ability to control your mind. And then it goes on to say, if you learn how to stop focusing on negative possibilities, fear won't be able to dominate you. You will begin to think more clearly. And so I think that's what I need to work on, is just when I'm wanting to go do whatever it is I want to go do, the impulsivity and the, I want what I want when I want it. I need to really discipline myself and think about other options, like drinking a glass of water, calling somebody, taking a deep breath, knowing that the hunger that I'm having will pass with time, better coping mechanisms.
Yeah, one of the things that comes to mind is this woman that I watch, I don't know, on YouTube or online or something, named Suzanne Evans. And she does a lot of sales. She's all about marketing and sales and coaching. And she says you have to get used to being uncomfortable. If you really are up to something big, that's what makes you stretch. That's what gives you, just like a muscle where you have to work it to failure so that you can increase your muscle size. That's what it's like. You have to just have a little bit of failure and, overcome that. And you also have to be used to having some discomfort, because if it otherwise you're living in the easy life, right? And the easy life for me is, or was, Diet Coke and chocolate malts, and eating whatever I want whenever I want it. And because of that, I need to lose 30 pounds. So I still need to lose 30 pounds. I feel like I've
Oh, I think we're having some connectivity problems. Yeah, there Karen goes. Maybe she'll follow back up and come back on.
Okay. So I'm back.
Oh, good.
So I've changed my eating habits in that I don't eat chocolate malts anymore, and I drink a lot less Diet Coke. But today and yesterday I made an egg bake, so that was really a nice, good keto breakfast. But today I did have some corn chips, and if they're in the house, I think I'm going to eat them. especially if I don't look down at my eating plan to say, oh, are corn chips on my eating plan? I'm pretty sure corn chips are not on my eating plan. The keto value of corn chips is very non-existent.
Yeah, I think it's 1 carb per corn chip.
Well, I've already eaten my limit of carbs in one handful. So the struggle for me, I think it's partly, I think we can always attribute it to circumstance, right? Everybody's got circumstances. And part of it is this transition into changing the habits. And the other is because I am working virtually from home and, here taking care of my mom along with my brother. I mean, I'm not taking care of my brother. My brother is taking care of my mom with me. And he's doing all the heavy lifting. But there's too much access to the kitchen, right? And foods. If I were at an office from 9 to 5, I would not be subjecting myself to all kinds of food all the time.
Right. And I don't have that kind of excuse because I'm living alone. I have a cat right now, and, Charlie doesn't really need to eat any carb. Well, he eats his food, I guess, which has carbs in it. But so for me, it's, I don't have that excuse, and I have to go out to get my things. And I was yesterday at a party. I have a friend who did a 1-woman play. It was fabulous. It was an hour and a half, and she was 9 different characters, and it was very interesting. And I didn't go out to the garage because that's where I knew things were that I didn't want to eat. But after the play, and I was a little hungry, I went out to the garage and I did eat half a cookie. I tore it in half and I took a picture of it and I sent it to Jeff because he's my accountability partner. And, so then what's going on in my mind is, it's just a half a cookie. It's just a little bit of sugar and, fat and, carbs, and can give me, it can just take care of that really bad craving I'm having. And then it'll hold me over until I have another bad craving. And then I could have another small something. So this is just what the craziness in my mind does, because Jeff texted back, oh, well, if you're an addict, to sugar, then that plan isn't going to work. That's like telling the alcoholic, hey, just have, 1 drink or 2 drinks. It doesn't work that way. Maybe at the beginning, but with time, it's going to get worse. But those are just the things that will go on in my head that will get me in the way of my commitment. And it has to do, I think, with the word that was in this discipline book about suffering. And I think that's why I struggle, because I don't like to suffer. And I like to think, well, I've suffered enough this life. I lost 2 kids. I had a husband cost me $250,000 to unload. I have this, I have that. I had a narcissistic mother. I have this or I have that. And everybody in the world can come up with excuses, maybe not losing 2 children, but, we all have our crosses to bear. And, you just need to buck up sometimes and get the job done. Oh, Karen's having problems. I wonder if it's because of the cold weather out there. It's been so cold in Chicago. My son texted me that it's minus 28 out there today with the wind chill. So, I went to the car wash and the guy had on shorts and flip-flops next to me. And I told that to my neighbor and he said, don't tell that to your son.
All right, I'm back.
Hi.
Hello. You're going to have to be the timekeeper because I keep getting the same times for, like I'm at 12 seconds now. So since I've been off and on.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have to learn how to edit so that we can put all these together. But hey, tell me you were in the middle of the, you don't like to suffer.
Yeah. So the bottom line is I just have to buck up and go through a little bit of suffering if that's what I'm going to think of it as. If I'm going to think of it as suffering, then I just get to sit and suffer. If I'm going to think of it as being up to something bigger, then I can be excited about it. It's all your mindset. It's all, what the power discipline said about you have to control your mind. and you are in control of how you perceive the situation and what's going on, right?
Yeah. So what can you do to keep your to become comfortable with suffering?
Well, I think one of the things to do is to have a food plan and to know, because what I really want to do is I want to switch my eating times from 8, 12, and 4 to like 10:30 to 11. I want to have a bigger meal then, and then have another meal at 4 o'clock and close my window so that I have a larger fasting window.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm up to now. And I think it would really help me to have a decent amount of food at 10:30 or 11, and at 11, and a decent amount of food at 4, and I could do that on a food plan. And that's what I really want to try to be. That's what I really want to be committed to. That's what I'm going to start doing, because right now my refrigerator doesn't have food in it to eat. I have some food in the freezer, but the last big time I started a food plan a couple of weeks ago, I went out and bought all the food, and I was preparing all the food, and I was making extras to freeze, and now I don't have any more food. So I need to do that again. And I envision myself in the future doing it on a regular basis, making your food plan and then making a list, going out and shop, go home, prepare your food, and have it ready. There's no reason why I can't do that. And then at the times where I'm hungry and it's before time to eat, I just get to be hungry. I can change my mindset. I can drink a glass of water. I can get busy. I can be okay with being hungry and feeling like I'm not going to die because I'm hungry for an hour or an hour and a half.
And you said uh, you want to be doing that. So what's stopping you from doing it?
Part of it is just being lazy. Part of it is fear that if I actually get up to doing that, I won't succeed. And so there's a little bit of fear about that, which is not really justifiable, because I know that when I do what I know, I'm not young. I know my body. I know how it responds. I'm getting to learn how it responds to the carbohydrates. I know that my weight loss is going to be slower than I really want, because that is panning out. But part of it is fear. Part of it's a big story that I make up for myself.
So when are you going to start this?
Well, I can start today or tomorrow. It's a holiday tomorrow.
Well, why don't you start today? It's not a holiday today.
Yeah, I know. There's football on. I can do it during football. All right, I'll do my food plan during football.
And what time did you eat the cookie?
It was, let me see. She started at 2, 3. It was about 3:30 or a quarter to 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's that 2 to 4 window where, Snickers used to have the commercial, 3 o'clock, eat your Snickers bar. And I abided by that. I would go downstairs when I was working at this law office. I would go downstairs and go get my Snickers bar at 3 o'clock every day.
Yeah.
So I think by changing that window of eating, you're better off, because that window, if you start craving something at 2:30, you can make it till 4 when you've got your eating window, or you can just start eating then. But if you've eaten later and you've ended your eating between 11:30 and 12, then chances are you're not going to have that urge to eat between 2 and 4. You'll be ready to eat your meal again at 4.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's what's going on now is that I eat at 8, 12, and 4 or 5, and I do start to get hungry. I notice, gosh, I'm getting really pretty hungry, and then it's time to eat. So, I'm going to have to throw a little of this suffering in there, which, I tend to do that. I can sit around and mull around in all my suffering, when I could be looking at it in a totally different way. So working on my perception and making it not so big of a struggle is something I'm going to really do.
All right. Well, I think we've got our work cut out for us for this week. I I'm
Yeah,
really
tell
gonna
me, Karen, about when was the last time you had a Diet Coke?
this morning.
So talk about your commitment around, are you feeling the same way that I'm feeling about like how you don't want to suffer without it and you're out there shoveling all that snow for hours and hours every day?
Well, it all has to do with my brother bought Diet Coke from Aldi the other day, and so I figured I would just drink it until it was gone, um, because it's almost gone. So, and my Diet Coke, I'm not. I mean, I guess my commitment is I I'm more worried about my commitment to eating low carb foods because that is a low carb food, right? I would really rather get the chips out of my meal plan than the soda. So I guess that's the suffering. It's like if I got to get rid of my chips, I'm going to keep my Diet Coke at least until it's out of the house. I mean, technically, I could do something else with it. I can't put it in the garage though because it'll freeze. So um, I feel it's an overall lack of commitment. I'm not looking at the foods that I'm eating and saying, "Oh, this is not low carb." I feel like if I eat a corn chip, well, at least I'm eating it with a piece of cheese. So I'm not getting the same insulin response, but I'm not going to lose weight eating corn chips. It's just a fact.
And is it possible to have a conversation with your brother about bringing home the Diet
Yes.
Coke?
Yes, I have to tell him not to buy any more Diet Coke.
Does he drink it?
No. No, he just buys it for me.
Yeah,
That's probably some of it too, right? Like he's taking care of me, so I'm going to be, I'm going to accept that. Thank God it's not a cake or a pie.
yeah, I was gonna say, what kind of care is that if you're up to something else?
Yeah.
That's like sibling rivalry or something.
So I keep saying I'm going to do a written food plan, and I do have one very vague written food plan. So I'm going to do a written food plan and stick by it until our next video.
All right, well, maybe we could try to check in a day or two and at least hold up, our written food plans and show
Yeah.
people, what we're up to as far as continuing our commitment and dealing with our struggles, which
Yeah.
is what we do because we're human.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for
All
watching us.
right.
Appreciate it. Love you guys. Thanks so much.
All
Bye.
right. Take care, Karen. Take care,
Bye.
everybody.